Hey everybody, it's Ben. Like the way you guys say it's a new intro. We've only had it for a couple weeks, going every day. But yeah, and so forth. Yay, 210 to dos. Yeah, yeah. For a lot of you, the intro's too complicated, so go in the corner and suck your thumb, I guess, until it's over. But it is the best part of the stream. So it's hard to compete. Uh, for those of you with an IQ over 70, that's awesome, isn't it? Yeah. It's not a lot of the people here, but something. Okay, so we're going to do, as the stream says, do a recap of the rounds that were yesterday and today from the U.S. Championship and or U.S. Women's Championship and so forth. Thanks for the 200 Curious Chimpanzee. Thanks for the 250 Tariq DC. I told you not to give that streamer 250, or I guess it's tree fitty. Yeah. Let's see. There's a nude intro, possibly. Snake Oil Scrub subscribed. Good, good. Yeah, we didn't have a good day today regarding bits and subs and such, so maybe I have to refurbish that video with my great technical skills. Right, sweetie?
And that's going to do what?
Exactly.
Maybe you just need to badger him. Go back to badgering.
Oh, badgering the chat? Oh, yeah, you guys are all terrible. Okay. I don't want to start the analysis before 9 when we're on Chess TV, and I don't want to start it while we're having a hype train. So I'll just let you guys praise the intro video. If you say like this is new, that means you don't watch my stream. That's like the 8th time we've shown that. But yeah, somebody's saying it's repeating. That I say always repeat. Man, it's tough. How do you guys survive in the real world, etc. and so forth. So we're going to look at a few games from the championship and women's championship, and we might start some of the games in the middle or near the end. This one's sort of the beginning middle. 250. It's 250. No, it's tree fitty. But thanks for the 250. See, it's tree fitty in South Park. It's 250 in Do the Right Thing, which was a movie made before you were born. But he got 250 a week. That's what Spike Lee got paid. The guy that wrote Family Guy will get fired from the Raiders coaching staff? Possibly. Yeah. Let's see. Could you explain between a puzzle and a study? A study is long and complicated, and you don't understand it. A puzzle is usually short and simple, and you still don't understand it, but you have a better chance. So anything that's a forced checkmate is not a study. If it's mate in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a puzzle. If it's white to play and win, and the solution is complicated and long, that's a study. So you shouldn't do studies because you can't. Such as frustrating. You should do really easy puzzles like mate in 1 or, mate in 0. I don't know, mate in -1. Yeah. So don't ever do studies. Pontius Pirate subscribed. Good, good. Yeah, if you don't understand the intro, then you can't do studies. Yeah, it's a good thing breathing is something that's automatic. Born in Oz subscribed. And so on. Yeah, will do. Good, good. Yeah, you guys aren't as dumb as the best testing indicates. And so forth. That's right. It's almost made on the board except for one thing. And also purple's a fruit. Go, hype train. It's raining, Ben. Delicious. That's correct. Lots of streaming today. Because I had so many Perrier. So it requires lots of streaming. That's what purple drink is made of. That's right. Go purple drink. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Quiet. I'm reading. Yay, mods and VIPs. What's a DMCA? 100 sentators, 3,800 on Leech Us, also 700 in real life. Yes?
Archer and Hank Drew.
Boo. Well, okay, Archer was the worst when I looked, so drawing is okay, I guess. Archer drew his game. I think he played Hank Hill. You want to get it on the stream?
I can get him for a second.
Yeah, you gotta, do stuff. Read the chat and yell at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, move over. You're not even on the stream.
The lighting is still horrible. I can't wait to get our new lights though.
Well, we don't have enough lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Born in Oz. Wait, what? Born in Oz gifted 5 subs. Ridiculous. Yay. Thanks, Born in Oz. Putting us to level 4, probably.
So there's 4 boards left.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yay, level 2 complete.
Yay. Thank you, Born in Oz.
Oh, we're in the middle of level 3. Boo.
It's so hot in here.
It is.
I think 'cause I've just been moving around a lot.
Right. And you have long and I have short.
I shouldn't have worn this sweater.
And I've had 75 period today. Yeah. I love your contribution to the intro. Correct.
Oh, thank you, Homomorphic. I just did as the director told me to do.
Opinion on Kyrie Irving? He's going to get a job soon at Fox News due to his craziness. Kyrie Irving's always been an issue. See, when you're running a sports team that's, worth billions, you have to determine whether you want people who are good but insane, or maybe not as good but not insane. So, in my personal preference, for me, I prefer not as good and not insane, but it's also possible the publicity that he brings to the team by being insane helps their sales. So, Kyrie Irving doesn't play very often. When he does play, he plays pretty well. And then there's a lot of media off the court because he's nuts. So I don't know, maybe they like that. But if I was owning the team, I would just want normal people. But maybe it's hard to find normal people. I don't know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kyrie's definitely one of the more insane people. Kyrie Irving claimed he was kidding when he said he was a flat earther, but I don't know. Yeah, he can't play. He plays for the Brooklyn Nets, and they won't let him play because he won't get it vaccinated or anything, and so forth. Yeah, and so on.
So, so he can never play again unless he gets vaccinated?
Well, it's unclear. There's always the players' union and the city. See, there's a couple of things that happen. One is the NBA can decide the players have to get vaccinated or not based on their dealings with the union. The other thing is the cities could have regulations saying if you're in a big stadium in our city, you have to be vaccinated. We can't have 30,000 people in our stadium and none of them are vaccinated. We're not going to do that. So there's a lot of rules in different states and cities and stadiums and the NBA. And also the teams have rules. The Brooklyn Nets might say, want to play for the Brooklyn Nets? Got to get vaccinated. So I don't know what, Kyrie Irving's probably going to run for president in 2024 and be on Fox News and go to Trump rallies, I guess. I don't know.
With Herschel Walker?
With Herschel Walker, yeah. Not clear who's crazier. I guess Kyrie. Yeah. Right, Kyrie's, okay, it's a team of overrated players. You have one good player, and then you have, overrated players who are famous. Some teams just want famous players because it makes more money for them, right? So you have, the Lakers who aren't very good, but they have really famous players on their team that are old and not good. And then, they have a lot of those people. So when even one of their worst players, he was good 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Superman. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go check the tournament.
Yeah.
Are you about to start the game? Are you still waiting?
Yeah, I'll start pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, the gawking rabble, which is a lot of people who were here, they don't understand how anything works. So they're just like, what do you mean this guy's overrated? You know, he's my favorite player. You know, and basically all James Harden does is throw the ball to the other team so they can dunk it,
Oh.
and never plays defense, and his team never wins. But he's everybody's favorite player because he has this big beard, and that's why what's his name didn't like him, because his beard wasn't big enough. You know, the guy Adam Wallace. He's like, that's not a beard. So I was like, all right, yeah.
That's true.
Come on, the hype train's dying,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better.
and so forth.
You want to do that?
Yeah, Kyrie's all right. What's that?
I don't know much about it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he's well known for his beard, and everything he does is illegal. He travels every single play. He doesn't play defense. His teams never win, but he's the greatest player ever. All right. I'm more of a fan of Bill Russell, who got like 1,000 rebounds a game and won like 9 NBA championships. But that's me. And so forth. Yeah, Ben Simmons, there's a good player. You know, normally I would like Ben Simmons because his name's Ben, but I have to make an exception and draw the line somewhere. Not sure where exactly. Yeah. It's true. Some of the beards aren't as good. Yeah. And so forth. But okay, the teams are in business to make money. So, you know, having famous players that people think are good is more important than having people who are actually good. So to some of them. And so forth. Yeah, so basically the Lakers and the Nets are just a train wreck every year because they keep hiring crazier and crazier people and people who are 150 years old who can't play anymore. But they're famous. They're famous. Yeah, after they got their last few players, the Lakers said next year they're going to bring back Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And they're going to play for the Lakers. God damn.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the ticket sales.
Yeah.
Bird and Magic on the same team. Yeah. And so forth. Eric Seidel is great. He's my favorite poker player. Yeah. Agreed. Now, when you say Antetokounmpo is good, you mean the famous one or his brother? Oh, snap. Yeah. Kobe. Yeah. And so forth. I saw Kobe and Shaq play against the Pistons. And the Pistons beat him, swept him 4-1. That was the joke. That'll be above your head, but yeah. Swept him and lost a game. Still swept him. And so forth. Yeah, Wilt was good. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was good. Yeah. No. Didn't the Lakers just win the NBA championship? No. Jerry West. Get Jerry West. Good. No, they got knocked out pretty early, actually. But thanks for playing. Yeah. Why is he your favorite poker player? I don't know. He plays great poker, and he's calm, and he's tall, and he's reserved, and he plays correctly. Yeah. Least favorite poker player? Ooh. That question wasn't asked. I just thought it up. I guess Madisau. Yeah. Could be Helmuth. I don't know. It's one of them. I guess it's Madisau. Because, as a person, he's garbage. So, obviously, Helmuth is also garbage, but I think Madisau's more garbage. Yeah, Madisau. Oh. Etc. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Madisau's a terrible person. Poker's not great either, but he's a terrible person. Poker playoffs. Yeah, they should have crazy playoffs. Vote who's the craziest, etc. All right, let's. What time is it? 9:01. Okay, let's begin. Hi. That Granu's just a lunatic. Yeah. He's a vegan, so I'll give him props for that. But everything else about him is bad. Okay. That's why I like Seidel. He's a normal guy, nice guy, plays well, doesn't act like an idiot, so forth. Okay. High chess TV, etc. Looks like we're on. We're off. Yeah. And so forth. No, I do think you spelled Negreanu wrong. That's correct. Yeah. So this is round 5, which was yesterday. Yesterday, Zhang's troubles seem so far away. He drew a winning position today. Although maybe he wasn't winning. I thought he was. Okay, this is Zhang versus Shankland from yesterday. Jeffrey's only win of the event. And this is there's several critical positions where Shankland made errors, as he's prone to do. And this was his first error, I think. He played f5. And that's sort of, all-in move. You're weakening your position, but you're trying to play aggressively, although trying is the first step to failure. Okay, so Jeffrey didn't want to deal with f4, so he traded. And he castled. And now there's this gaping holes here. See, can I make that joke? Can I make that joke? Can I make that joke? No. Okay. And, black needs some prophylaxis for this gaping hole. And so in this position, Sam played bishop d7, which is reasonable. Rook e1. And now this is a very important part of the game, so you understand strategy. Now, obviously, you're still not going to understand it, but I'll try. I can't promise to try, but I'll try to try. Any other results? Anybody?
No. Well, actually, yes. Ferrante beat James Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After the game, did he shower the people he loved with love? Yeah. What percentage of the chat has heard of James Taylor, the singer? 5%? 1%? Nobody?
75%.
No. No.
All the younger people I know about him.
No. 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 None of the younger people know about him.
Everybody at karaoke does.
Those aren't young people. These are young people. Those are old people who are young.
Well, 20s is young.
Well, the people here, I saw him in concert with Carole King.
What?
God damn.
I'm so jealous.
That's some old school. So I have a serious question, even though it doesn't sound like a serious question, but it is. Did he sleep with Carole King and Carly Simon separately, or one, or neither? I think he was with both of them.
But wasn't he married to one of them?
I don't know.
I think he was married to. Wasn't he married to Carly?
This guy said he saw him in Rome. Wow.
Wait, wasn't he? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
He was married to Carly, and he must have been with Carole King, if you know what I mean.
They just put a live, well, not just. Like maybe.
Not at the same time. I mean, maybe, but I'm not saying that. I was just saying this separately. Yeah.
Why do you think he had to have slept with Carole King?
Why not? Yeah, homophobics is the same time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess there's no reason not to. I mean, she's not the most beautifulest. She's not horrible.
Yeah.
You are allowed to control all
No,
wisdom.
you're not. No. Okay, so we agree that since he was married to Carly Simon, they probably slept together, probably.
Yeah.
But Carole King, we don't agree. All right.
I haven't been able to talk as much because when Ben's doing commentary. I don't like to interrupt him with saying hey to everybody.
Yeah. James Taylor was on an episode of The Simpsons. So what happened was Homer went to space, okay, and then James Taylor was in the in Houston, he'd play a song for him because things were going bad, and he sang this song where one of the lyrics is this isn't a joke. This is what happened. One of the lyrics was crashing or something, and then he changed the lyrics so that Homer wouldn't feel bad. Well, what song am I talking about?
James Taylor song?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know that you got banned. Did I ban you? I didn't think I banned you.
Let's ban him again. Yeah.
I don't know.
The episode's 30 years ago. I can't remember.
People.
Fire and Rain is the song. Yeah. You have to float there and like it. That's right. That's what he said. Also, that was James Taylor on The Simpsons. Yeah. Yeah, it was like something that was bad. And he says, flying safely through the sky. He changed the lyrics. Bospo123 subscribed. Good.
Yay.
Okay. Now they're speaking in tongues, so we'll get back to the game. Okay, so this is critical point number 1 in the game for Jeffrey. So it's key to control this square, e5. That's the square we're fighting for. And if this pawn never moves from e6, then the bishop is shallow and pedantic. And this is the problem with putting all your pawns on the same color, is your bishop behind it isn't very good. The other problem is Sam played f5 with his knight on g6. You would prefer to have your knight on f6. You could play knight e4. So basically, you can't put anything on e4, but I can put something on e5. Now, you can't get rid of this knight unless you play h4, h5, which is very dangerous because you might lose the h-pawn. And by might, I mean you will. So Sam played excellent move here, bishop b5. He wants to take the knight, and then he's controlling e5. Knight e5. I got another knight to e5. I got a rook. And black is very passive. So one thing that black could do, which he did not do, is play e5 here, which ruins his pawn structure, but sort of gets rid of that issue. I mean, he's going to have a bad bishop versus a good knight and a bad pawn structure, but he won't be strategically lost, just much worse. Other thing he can do is play knight b4 to try to get rid of this white bishop for this knight, which is what white's trying to do anyway. And white could decide whether to defend his bishop or just take this and totally dominate e5. We could play queen c5 and then knight e5, and I got another knight. Sam could have done all of these things, okay? It's not clear what's right. It's even not clear to me now what's right. But Sam didn't do any of that. He played knight b8. He wanted to trade the white bishops because his bishop sucks. Then his knight gets to d7 defending e5. Excellent. Okay, now Jeffrey and I know each other very well. We're like that, son. So Jeffrey played bishop f1. Now the knight's not on c6, so now I'm ready to play knight e5. So Sam played knight c6, and he was hoping for the repetition based on his reputation. Okay, so he's like, yay, I can draw with black in this bad position. And Jeffrey, who recently learned German, said, "Ich don't think so," and played a4. Now, there's a timing issue. If we trade and we're like, haha, we can go here and defend e5, your pawn's hanging on a7. And if you do something about it, I'm going to play knight e5, and I got two knights, one for each of you, and black is super passive. Look at these terrible rooks. Also, we're aiding this rook on the open file, so black shouldn't do that. Okay, instead Sam played another bad move, as is the style at the time. And here he's already has a very bad position, I think. I think f5 is just a mistake. And probably knight b8 wasn't the right way of playing. Sam innocently played a6, again hoping for this trade, which isn't going to happen because that bishop's terrible. And now bishop f1 again. Now the bishop's good on f1 for several reasons, not just because of my rules. Okay, and I told Karen when we got married, I said, come on, baby, live by my rules. Lightning. Okay, now the bishop is defending g2, right? That's good. And it doesn't block the rook on e1, and it's not on d3, which can be attacked by knight f4. It's safe here, and it defends both diagonals. Now, Sam wanted to stop knight e5 again, so he played knight c6. All right, so number one was to play bishop b5 and harass this knight. Number two was to play a4 and defend his bishop. a6 is a mistake because that creates a target for white. And a6 being a mistake is a little too complicated for this stream. And you can tell that it is because Sam's 2700 and it's too complicated for him. And now with the pawn on a6, white has the excellent idea of b4, b5. This kicks the knight off of c6, so I control e5. And also, it opens up the queen side where white has a space advantage. When Sam put his rooks here, he wasn't expecting all the play to be over here. He was like, rawr, I'm Sam Shankland, right? Okay. And somebody misheard him and thought he said Sam Savian, so it was that's a whole nother thing. Okay. So Sam played knight d8 because the knight's going to get kicked anyway, and this way he can play knight f7 and still try to control e5. Okay. And if black's pawn was on a7, which it should be, then he could just play knight f7. But now he has to deal with this, and he did deal with it, but this really helps my rook. And now after knight f7, this is another excellent move from Jeffrey. Now, obviously, you can become a really good chess player and play excellent moves, or you can take the shortcut and just follow my rules. Like always play bishop f1, always repeat, okay? And now he played an explosive move. Now, obviously, if black's going to play some kind of king side attack, and you can see he put all his pieces on the king side, and white's winning on the queen side, white's advancing here, then you want to stop black from advancing on the king side, and he played by far the strongest move, c4. And this makes it very difficult for black to attack when the center is going to be open, or when I'm going to play c5 and get a passed pawn. And again, this is what I call the Sophie's Choice, a movie you've never seen, probably because you were at a James Taylor concert, so you just didn't know which one to do. And you can either let me play c5, which is what happened, or you can take on c4, which also isn't good. Now I play knight takes with tempo, and I control this square again. And you could ask Farnsley 69 about this backward pawn, right? Terrible. So you can see this bishop is very bad, and I controlled e5 a lot, and pawn structure is weak, and I'm advancing on the queen side. In my opinion, this is better than what Sam did. It's bad. The engine says it's bad, and he should feel bad. But when you have a choice of like, this is terrible or this is terrible, often people make the wrong decision, because when you get chess lessons and you're a talented player and you're getting better and you're 2,700, a lot of your work isn't, okay, here you're getting crushed. Which way are you getting less crushed? That's not, usually it's like, how do you increase your advantage, and how do you do this, and how do you do that, and how do you stop your opponent's counterplay? And here it's just like, this is bad for black, and that not taking is bad for black. Now, I'm okay at this because I have bad positions a lot. So I got no problem. That's why I would take that. I'm not saying it's better than what Sam did, but that's, I basically can't allow that. I wouldn't allow that because I think the game's over after that. Okay, Sam played e5, which is also reasonable for confusing the audience. So I don't really mind that move either. Okay, then c5, and then we trade everything, always trade everything. I don't understand queen a4, but it worked out okay. White's position is so good with these pawns here. This pawn's weak. This bishop is terrible. And with the bishop on f1 and the knight on f3 defended, there's not really an attack for black. If black could play knight e4 or bishop e4, then I would change my mind. But these pieces aren't well placed to attack white. Okay, and then Sam traded, always trade, and he attacked the queen. He's hoping he can get, he can get his pawns here, or his rook can stay on e4 forever. Obviously, he didn't take this and let him open the f-file. Now this is threatened. Then he's got two passed pawns, one for each of you. So he defended his pawn by retreating. Rook d1's a really nice move. We're never going to take that, so we might as well attack the weakness and prepare for a blockade. There's no reason ever to take this. That helps black. Knight f4. Rook c1 is excellent, getting the queen off the rook and defending the c-pawn. And the bishop on f1 is so good, it defends the king. This bishop is defending this pawn, but that's terrible. And these pawns also aren't very good. Black would obviously like to play bishop g4. Rawr! But, pawn structure like this makes your bishop bad on c8. LJ Gonzi subscribed to tier 3. Hooray.
Yay, LJ Gonzi.
Then LJ Gonzi gave 1,000 centidues. Hooray.
Yay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, and then Karen will be right back. Yay. She's too excited. Okay. Sam plays rook e7, which actually is the engine move, but that's not gonna cut the mustard. I don't really have any. White's just winning. I don't have any. There's no attack for black that makes any sense. And this is weak. This is weak. This is weak. And this is queening. And this is a bad bishop. And there's not really an attack that works. Okay, here. He doesn't want to play c6 now because bc would attack the queen. So he plays queen b8, attacking the knight on f4, which is black's most active piece. g5, c6, very consistent. And rook takes is good and b takes is good. We were discussing this live, and I thought rook takes was better, but I didn't know. And he did play rook takes. Thanks 9-9. You're the best until somebody else. Okay, now in this position, you don't have to move your queen, because if you move your bishop, you're attacking this queen. So all these moves, the engine's playing all these moves, and still saying that white's winning, but you can't move your queen because your bishop's hanging. So you got to move your bishop somewhere and attack this queen. Okay, and he played bishop d7, which the engine says is the best. We trade queens, and then we play knight d4, exclam, because this is the most important pawn. That's a passed pawn, and it's attacked, and the knight on d4 defends the pawn. The pawn's defended by the bishop. These pawns are all weak. Rook d6 is coming, knight takes f5 is coming, g3 is coming, and the black knight doesn't really have a good square. So even though material is equal, this pawn's great and this pawn's terrible. This bishop is doing a good job, this bishop isn't doing much, and these pawns are all weak, and these pawns are all safe. So if you add it all up, it's a winning advantage for white. Thanks, Word, to 1999. And this kind of position, when you see a knight blockading an isolated pawn, is usually going to be advantageous for white, which we're going to see next in the game Krush versus Zatonsky with the same kind of blockade. Okay, rook e5, defending all of his pawns. Rook d6, attacking the bishop. Defends the bishop. b6. Bishop a6, b7. God damn. If I play bishop a6, I'm attacking your rook and you're, come on. So he defends his bishop again. g3, kicking out the knight. The knight gets kicked out. Now, a lot of people would try to win this pawn with like rook takes. Obviously, you don't want to, you got it. But now that the knight is here and not on f4, Jeffrey has bishop to g2. And that's all she wrote. You can't stop bishop takes d5 check, and the position's collapsing. And here Sam resigned. The engine says +5. If you have an engine that analyzes deeper, it'll say +7 or 8. And that was an excellent game from Jeffrey. And when you do the chess.com caps thing, which doesn't matter, but Jeffrey gets 98.9, and Sam gets 90. So that's not 90 is not very good for a slow game for a 2700 player. That's more like a blitz game of a 2500 player. Becker 1337 subscribed. So that was by far Jeffrey's best game. Was pretty smooth. And Sam made a lot of little mistakes like f5 and a6. And then he didn't get a counterplay that he wanted, and his position fell apart. Really nice game from Jeffrey. It was a mix of Sam not playing his best game and Jeffrey playing his best game, and Jeffrey was white. So when you add all of that up, then, somebody's going to win. Yeah. Thanks for the sub and so forth. Yeah. 2,000 viewers a do. Frankly, ridiculous. Okay. Now, in that ilk, I want to look at... I was going to look at this game first, but we're going to go right to here. This is the game Krush versus Zatonsky. If you're my YouTube editor, that Krush Zatonsky. See, now you can start this game. So these players have played 1 billion times before. And for the most part, they play in the U.S. Women's Championship. If you told me they've never played outside the U.S. Women's Championship, I would believe you. I'm sure they have, but, if they're playing on the Olympic team, they're not playing each other. They're playing as a team. And Anna lives in Germany, so she doesn't play a lot in the U.S. She mainly just plays in the U.S. Women's Championship. So, they've probably played at least 11 times in the U.S. Women's Championship, And it's possible they haven't played anywhere else, which is funny. And Anna's won the event 4 times, and Crush has won the event 8 times. Unless I'm wrong, then there's some other amount. I'm right about Crush. The Tonski, I'm not 100% sure. And so forth. Mainly and so forth. Okay, good chat. All right, so I want to gloss over the opening. It got an isolated pawn position, and it turned into a reversed c3 Sicilian. So white has an extra tempo. And in this position, Anna started playing very strangely. Anna, for reasons I don't understand, was very interested in doing that. That's something I'm very interested in not doing. But Anna was very interested, and she did it. And that's not what you want to do here. You got to chill here. You got to chill them out. I mean, we got to all be like little Fonzarellis here. And what's Fonzie? Cool? Correctamundo. So she should have chilled out, but I think she had to go pee and she wanted to go home. So I think there was some issue there. But Ringo definitely didn't want Anna to play queen takes b2. Definitely. And so forth. And so forth. 9. That would be the right number. No, the German's woman champion has won the event 9 times. Okay. So Rook d8 is a weird move. I would just castle with black. Knight b5. So Irina wants to get control of d4, as we saw in the game between Jeffrey and Sam. Castles now. She put it in h. h3 gets lift, stops black's pieces from going here. And Rook d7 I didn't understand, because that's like a weird move. Although Rook d8's a weird move, because this rook, usually the rooks go to d8 and c8. So I thought maybe she was giving a square for her queen, which isn't necessary. But no, after this, Anna's like, I'm taking this pawn. And now the reason for Rook d7 is obvious, even to the most dim-witted individual with an advanced degree in hyperbolic topology, that the rook is defending b7. So if some rook goes to b1, then we can play queen a3. The bishop defends the queen. And you can't take on b7. That's why Anna played rook d7. Because she was interested in taking this. I would not be interested in taking that, because that's not something you should be interested in. Okay, and then this actually reminds me of my game with Fidel Corrales Jimenez, because he took a pawn on a2 that was also semi-poisoned, and I messed his king up in the same way that Irina did. The queen's only escape square is here after rook f to b1, and the reason that's an escape square is because the bishop defends the queen, so Crush played bishop takes f6. And now you can see if bishop takes f6, the queen has no escape square, so rook f to b1 would trap the queen. Therefore, ipso fatso, she has to play g takes f. Delicious. So black is a pawn up, but at what cost? Shallow chartreuse. Yeah. Okay, and Crush played rook fb1, queen a3 is forced, and then rook b3. And here, Anna made another bad decision. If I was black, I would certainly go here, try to get my queen back into the center. But she thought her queen was good at like doing queenside stuff. So she played queen a4. That is a very poor square for the queen, especially since white has a white squared bishop, and she just put her queen on a white square on the same diagonal with her rook. Frankly, ridiculous. Did Andrew Jang win on board 1? Nobody knows.
I assume so.
That's good enough. Okay. So this is also a very poor move. And in this position, Crush realized what I just told you. Somehow Anna didn't. She's like not on form this tournament. And Crush realized if she moved her queen, then bishop b5 would be a winning possibility. So the engine says queen b1 and queen d1 are the two best moves. The reason for queen d1 is if our knight takes something and this knight goes back to d4 and we're playing bishop b5, our queen could come over here. That's a little too involved. So she just played this simple queen b1. Not only do we want to go here, but Crush is like, hey, I'll win my pawn back. I got 2 threats, 1 for each of you. So this wins a pawn, and this wins the game. So Zatonsky's queen a4 was quite a poor move. She took on c6. In this position, she stopped bishop b5 from winning a pawn, but now bishop b5 wins more than a pawn, right? And if the BGs were doing commentary on this game, what would they say about this move? More than a pawn. You are more than a pawn to me. Okay, and then if they really like this piece, what would they say? They have to really like it, though.
I was trying to say why somebody got banned. I'm sorry, now what?
What? Why would the BGs like this piece? Night fever, night fever. Okay, now if you remember the game I showed you 15 minutes ago, which you don't, between Sam Shankland, black, against Jeffrey Shong, we have the same knight blocking this isolated pawn. So now white's threatening bishop b5, which forces resignation, and rook takes, winning the pawn back. And then black's pawn structure is shallow and pedantic. Do you agree?
Yes.
She agrees, shallow and pedantic. Okay, so she played rook c7, stopping this move from winning everything. Now, the engine doesn't want to cash in right away, but Crush is like, why not? What's wrong with cashing in? Okay, and then queen d7 was played, not the engine move, but black's position is frankly terrible. You can't have a worse pawn structure. Believe me, I've tried. And you can't have a worse bishop. The king is open. Frankly, ridiculous. When Magnus Carlsen went to sleep last night, he was dreaming he had white here, right? And then when he woke up, he did not. So he was upset about it. Okay, so Irina played bishop d3, threatening the pawn. And the problem is, if you remember earlier in the game about 4 moves, when white could play queen b1 or queen d1, and Irina played queen b1. Now, with the bishop not on e2 and the knight not on f3, this diagonal's open. So if black saves the pawn, then white can play queen d1 and queen h5, putting it in h. Okay, that's just untenable for black. We're controlling everything. Terrible. So correctly, she just gave up the pawn, and she's trying to trade pieces. She's like, you can win a pawn, but I'm going to trade everything off and try to draw. Unfortunately, trying.
First step to failure.
First step to failure. Okay, so white went from a pawn down to a pawn ahead in like 3 or 4 moves. Okay, and then we got this position where black's a pawn down for nothing, and I would say black's worse. Like king is exposed, past h pawn, double isolated pawns, ridiculous. Okay, and unfortunately Anna wasn't on her game, so she didn't play the absolute best, way to draw. Irina's like, if we trade queens, this bishop is worse than this one because of the pawn on d5, so my bishop can go to d5, I have a passed h pawn, a very easy win. Anna has to stay active, and she did with queen f4. Now, sometimes the open king for black with pieces on the board can be a plus, which we saw today in Fabi's game, because since black has no g-pawn, she can try to play rook g8, move her king, and start an attack. If she had a g-pawn, then she can't take down the g-file. If she trades queens, that obviously isn't the case. Okay, now once again we have a Sophie's choice. Both moves are terrible. If you play f takes e, you open up the 7th rank to your king. If you play rook takes, all your pawns are horrible. So she played the move the engine prefers, which is to take with the rook. Rook d1, rook e4, queen d3. And it's just like in the long run, you expect black to lose, but Anna wasn't on her game, so she lost pretty quickly. She put her queen... She's putting her queen on really bad squares a lot, trying to get counterplay. Rook b1's excellent. She wants to do a rook lift, and I don't know what black's supposed to do about that. So she really didn't do anything about it. Queen d3 if she plays queen takes a2 or rook takes, I can check, and then my rook's coming in here, and then that's not good. And the engine says plus a billion. So it's not, it might even be better than queen. Oh, queen g3 check is even better than queen g4 check. Yeah, of course, because now if you play rook e8, I have queen d6 check. That's why queen g3 is better than queen g4.
What about the Matthias says, what about the tactic suggested by Christian Carilla, sacrificing the queen on g6?
I assume he must mean later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or maybe he's talking about a different game. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you give your queen away here, then you're down a queen. So, see, the problem is Christian Carilla doesn't understand the value of the pieces. Most of us are like a queen is 9, a rook is 5, but he doesn't agree with that because he has Christian values. Yeah, Christian values. They're not the same as normal values. Basically, you have to be some kind of lunatic to have Christian values, right? White supremacist would help. Okay. And so forth.
I was a Christian as a little girl.
There you go. And now?
Not anymore.
Aw. Okay. So queen d3, rook b3, queen d1 check. I mean, if you ever go here, you just resign. So I don't know what Christian's talking about. Okay. And then here, and then, okay, white wins easily. And here, black resigned. 666. Good.
Oh, thank you, Lawful Waffle. I'd like to think that I am.
You're the angelicaist.
I'm angelic.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. Yeah, I kept telling Carilla that the Romanian women are just terrible. And he said, no, you're talking about the mountain women. The lowland women, they're beautiful. And I said, look, I would never date your sister. You know, the women are no good. Then he got out of his car and he was going to attack me. And then he lowered my rating on Uber from a 5 to a 1. Horrible. What show?
I don't know.
Curb. Shallow Chartreuse gifted a sub. Good. Sid the Kid got it. Yeah, Curb.
No, the room obviously has not been repainted. We're getting new lights, so then I don't have to mess with them all the time.
Yeah, she won't mess with them all the time then. All right.
I won't. I have better things to do
Yeah.
with my time.
P. Schneider 68 gave 200 cents to dues. Yeah. We'll pay. Get some hue lights.
They were expensive. They were like $150 for each light.
Yeah.
I need some money.
Doesn't sound bad. Repaint the room again.
And then I got this other light that was $80.
Cool. Okay, so very good game from Crush, very bad game from Zatonsky. The driver in Curb was not entirely incorrect. When I looked at I always look and slow down and pause the credits. That guy's Romanian because his name ended in U. So that guy actually is Romanian. Yeah. Well, she doesn't live in Alabama. There aren't any liberals in Alabama, except for Stuart Rachel's. The Toss subscribed. Good.
Yeah,
good.
The pictures are crooked.
Yeah. What's crooked?
The picture.
Oh, I thought you meant like our values are crooked. Okay. So Zatonsky resigned. Okay. This is round 5 still. And this is the game I wanted to talk about. And this is actually the beginning of the game that I wanted to start at with Tokyo Genova versus Carissa Yip. And the old saying comes correct this game. Whichever player's name is harder to pronounce, they're the favorite. Do you agree?
I mean, in general.
All you have to say is Yip. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Yay, 2, 3, 4, 5 yours. Hooray. Okay. Now in this position, white can play d6 or take and get a small advantage either way. And after DC, Carissa made a very poor move here. Very poor. And Carissa probably thought if she takes with the knight has no future on d4 because there's a pawn here. So I'll take with the bishop, question mark. And now my knights are ganging up on c4. And this was very well met by white. So after knight c6, I would say black is very slightly worse. And after bishop takes, maybe strategically lost because the knights are so bad. And I showed this position many years ago to Schulman, and he said he looked at this variation with his wife, and those are the knights that go knee. Yeah.
It was a long story. Yes.
Yeah.
Bye, see
It's
you.
very hard to get that joke. Right. It's Monty Python, but also his wife's name was Nee, N-I. Victoria Nee. So yeah. Yeah, she's one of my favorite opponents because I always beat her. Yeah, not Schulman. I didn't always beat him. Okay, so here, White played like a genius the rest of the game. Too good if you ask me. She played the move E4. Now that neither knight can go to the D4 square, because she didn't take with the knight, and now her bishop can get out. Let me out. Let me out. This is not a bishop. I'm screaming for help. I'm begging for help. Please just let me out. Show?
I don't know, Rick and Morty?
Yes. Yeah, that's Tiny Rick episode.
Yeah. I can't remember it.
Yeah. Now, which episode do you prefer? Tiny Rick or Pickle Rick?
I don't remember them.
Oh,
I fell asleep through half of them.
that's true. Alabama's the worst. What about Mississippi and Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas? Come on, learn. And Florida? Yeah, Alabama's like sixth worst. Okay.
No, Alabama's not the best.
Well, okay, it's better than those other states I mentioned.
I agree. Alabama the
Can
beautiful.
you imagine if you had to live in Mississippi?
No.
Right, exactly. No, Austin's okay, but now you have to live in Texas, which is disgusting. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully when Texas wants to secede, they'll just be like, all right, fine. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah. Okay, so she played Queen E6, which, is okay. And now, if I was White, I would play B3 and kill these knights. But I'm not young and talented and calculate a lot, so White played more like that. White played B4 and said, "Rawr." And when Yip complained to Chris Bird, he said, "No, I'm going to allow that." Yeah. I'm in your nephew, Dr. Boyd's class. This guy.
Let's see. I am in.
He's not Dr. Boyd, right? He's not a doctor.
He's a doctor? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Of course he's a doctor.
Austin's a doctor?
Oh, that one.
Says I'm your nephew.
Oh, nephew. I read brother for. I didn't even know that he was teaching at the moment.
Yeah,
but
I
that's
mean,
pretty cool.
your brother's not teaching. Yeah.
Well, that's why I was confused.
Yeah, I don't think he's Dr. Boyd.
There are a couple of doctors,
Yeah.
Boyds. My nephew, Dr. Boyd. Yeah, he's not Dr. Boyd yet.
Yeah.
My brother's Dr. Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
My nephew has a master's.
And what's funny is one of her brothers is Ben Boyd. So if I had taken her name, no, Frank is her brother. He thought Frank was your nephew. That you were his uncle. She wouldn't be anybody's uncle because she's a woman. What? Idea Slug subscribed. Okay, first of all, you're not in Frank's class because he doesn't teach. So maybe you were in his class.
Maybe he is virtually, and I don't know.
Oh, virtually,
he
maybe.
Might actually be.
Maybe. No,
Probably
Frank's
is.
actually older than her, so
Yeah, he probably is.
so he's not her nephew. And also, she's older than me, which also doesn't make any sense.
I think that it's my brother. Yeah, virtual.
Oh, you're in Frank's virtual class right now.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
her older
That is
brother.
my brother.
Yeah, in fact, he was on our last stream.
Yeah.
He actually said something on the stream like
Earlier.
4 hours ago. Yeah, he was watching. Yeah, Frank's not as bad as he played. No, I'm kidding. He's just as bad as he
No,
plays.
he's no good.
Pryan 3777. We'll make sure your grade goes down. We'll get that name in. Tell him. Okay. Okay, so she played B4. The knight has to go here, obviously, and then A4. So now I got two threats, one for each of you. And what would Mark Dvoretsky call these knights?
Superfluous.
Superfluous is the correct answer, but a much funnier answer is he wouldn't call them anything because he's not alive. Oh, snap. R.I.P. Dvoretsky. That rhymes. Okay, so she played A5, very reasonable. B5, always retreat. And in this position, knight G5 is very strong for reasons I explained on the stream that are too complicated to explain here. And here's what they are. Knight g5 attacking the queen. Queen goes back. Knight d5 attacking the queen. And now we don't take on d5, we take on c4. And if the knight goes to a normal square, I don't know, here, okay? Now we can take on f7, although bishop a3 is better. Oh, not f6. Knight f6 actually defends the bishop. Let's play here so we can do what I wanted to do. Now we can do this because after the trade, my rook's attacking your bishop. So white won a pawn. White wants to go here. The bishop's attacked, and this is winning for white. And so knight g5 is actually a good move, but she played knight d5, which is also good. However, after knight d5, black can play rook ec8, which is the best move, stopping knight c7. And you might say, wait a minute, Ben, and don't call me Ben. I mean, she can do that, but you should call me, Mr. Grandmaster Feingold. Sir, after knight g5 and the variation I just showed you, which threatens this, the queen is attacked. So you can't be just doing some lazy move here. So knight g5 was an improvement, but knight d5 is also good. Rook ec8 is good. Knight g5 now. Queen e8 because the queen has nowhere else to go. Not very good. Okay. Knight takes b6. Knight takes b6. Queen d3. This is really, really, really bad for black because this structure here just kills the bishop. The knight is killed. This pawn's weak. My bishop has b2, a3, e3. This bishop is dead, and I control the most important file. Now, white's not winning, but white has a big advantage. If you showed this to Magnus, he might say, yeah, white's winning because I would win if I was white. All right. He would mean me, of course. Okay, so rook d8, defending the knight, the bishop. Queen here attacking the knight. And she played knight c8, which is frankly ridiculous. Now, even if knight c4 is a worse move than knight c8, I'd probably still play knight c4 because I can't play knight c8. I just can't. I can't deactivate all of my pieces like that. After knight c4, which I think is a better move, we can go here. And the problem with bishop e6, which seems normal, is I take it, and I have the two bishops. Bishop g5, and this is awful also for black, but not as awful. So I think this was another mistake by Carissa, knight to c8. And at some point, when you put all your pieces passively, you just have no hope. Bishop b2. The main problem with knight c8 isn't how bad the knight is, it's how bad this rook on a8 is, so we can always try to get the 7th rank here. As we saw in the game Carissa White in a previous round versus Irina Krush, when Carissa's rook went to d7. Remember?
No.
I know.
Hey,
Okay.
are you talking about the class 9, Naheen? There's no class tomorrow night. If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, here's the game the day before. Well, not the day before. There was a rest day. This is the previous round, and Carissa played rook d7. Okay, Carissa likes that open file with her rook there, but then the mood all changed. And, that's the wrong Carissa game. Sorry.
Yeah, no class because of commentary.
Yeah, now if I go here, kick your ass. Okay, so Carissa played bishop h6, pitting the knight. That's called faux activity, right? And that's because fur is murder. So you got to do faux fur.
Okay.
Yeah, well, fur is murder, etc. So f4 is good and h4 is good. She put it in h. f6, which you should never play, doesn't win the knight. Okay, what move can white play to save her knight? Okay, recommended by... What's her name? You think of it while I think of her name.
I don't know.
Who will save your night? Who sings that?
Save Your Soul?
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember that song.
What? No,
Who,
what's
who
her name?
will save our souls?
What's her name?
That's a Happy Roads.
No, not that song.
Oh, I was
Jewel.
gonna say nobody
Thank you.
knows.
Jewel.
That. Oh, Jewel.
Jewel, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that dumb
So what would
song.
Jewel play here with white?
I don't even know this song.
No, I said who will save your night. It's a joke.
Oh.
Who will save your soul? Now, for $1 trillion, Jewel is actually somebody else too. She's two people. Who else is she? It's the same person. Jewel and who else? Let's see if anybody in the chat can get it.
Oh, I see what you can do. If you take... Oh, no, because then the king can take.
Mm-hmm.
So that won't work.
Who is Jewel? Yeah, you guys don't watch enough cartoons. That's your problem.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, the answer is Ricky Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you not know? Come on, you gotta remember every joke ever. Okay. Yeah, Ricky Martin. You play Queen B3 check.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then your knight's not pinned.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, winning. Okay,
And
so after
fine.
H4, Carissa said what the same thing Rosanna Dana would say, which is, never mind, and put her bishop back here.
I didn't think she was that funny.
What? Gilda Radner's the funniest ever.
I didn't
R.I.P.
think she was that funny.
Well, you're wrong. She's funny.
And I feel like that she got more kudos because she died of cancer.
No, she was funny when she was
I
alive.
think she was funny.
And who was she married to?
The guy from Gene Wilder. Maybe?
Correct.
Yeah, Gene
Very
Wilder.
good. Yep. Yeah. Rosanna Dana. Yeah. Yeah, she was the best.
I didn't think she was funny.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
she's great.
There's some
Yeah,
things.
go Gilda Radner.
I didn't think she's funny. And
Yeah,
then
terrible.
tell me, am I
Boo,
wrong?
boo.
Tell me I'm wrong. That she not get more kudos after she died.
You know, sometimes people die.
But then all of a sudden she was the greatest ever. Yeah, she was all right. She wasn't that great.
Yeah, she's great. Okay. So Carissa played bishop here, then bishop here. Terrible. Okay. Bishop F1, always play bishop F1. You have to look at the position. Now, why is bishop F1 good? We're playing bishop C4. Frankly, terrible for black. Okay, she kicked the knight out. Queen E6, which is another bad move, walking into bishop C4 later. Bishop A3, excellent, taking control of the diagonal. Good, good. Then she went back, that's funny. Bishop C4. So you can see Carissa's just sort of floundering around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually when a chess player's floundering around, what would I call them? A fish. Floundering around. Okay. You call that a herring? So very, very passive position for Carissa. She played bishop here, queen here, and then her knight went on a journey, right? This is a journey. Okay. Bishop G4, not bad, activating one piece. Bishop D5, excellent. Good, good. Rook D7, bishop back to B3, teasing her, that's good. Rook D8, King G2, and black just can't move. Black has no legal moves. Knight H2 is good too. Then she put her bishop back there because the bishop was attacked. Rook C1 going to C7. Knight F3. And black just can't move at all. See that knight on E7?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Can't move. Bishop C8, can't move. Bishop here, can't move. Pawn is weak. And my rook's coming in here. F7's weak. So she played rook E8. And then after a waiting move, stopping queen check with tempo, rook D8. Bishop C5 to go to B6. Just great play by white. Rook D1. Yeah, and black just can't move. Very Carlsen-esque. White's up a pawn. And Carissa decided not to resign, which made her game much worse. I mean, resigning was her only hope. But yeah, this is just silly. Down material, losing all of her pieces. Very embarrassing. And then Queen H8, come on. And then she resigned. Yeah, I mean, just totally smothered, which you don't expect from a low-rated player when you're such a sharp, combative player as Carissa. Very passive play by her. And when you're black and you make strategical errors and play passively, you can lose badly. Brailletown subscribed. Did you see that?
Brailletown?
Yeah, did you see Brailletown subscribed?
I heard you say it.
Right. Well, he didn't see it either.
Okay.
Yeah, different Braille, but funny anyway. Yeah. I bet I can beat this guy. Terrible. They're women's. That's right, Ivanchik Kasparov with the queen on H8. What year was that and what tournament?
I don't know.
I think it was Linares 94, but I could be wrong. I'm within a year, I think. Oh, 93. Damn. Terrible. I'm an old man.
Hey, I didn't realize it was so late. I should probably start packing it up.
You can do whatever you want. It's the United States of America.
Since it's a school night.
Mm-hmm. You go to school tomorrow? Terrible. You take Archer to school, and then we don't see him until Sunday night?
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Brailletown feels good about subscribing. That is good. The more you sub, the more subs we have.
Mm-hmm.
The Braille reader fell in a well because he couldn't see well. Yeah.
So Archer's not in Boston.
Does Archer like Boston? He doesn't care if Archer's in Boston. Does Archer like Boston?
He's never even been there. But Holden likes it.
Mm-hmm.
In Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
To be
So
exact.
resigning is unseemly. Wesley So never resigns, so I guess. Yeah. Do you ship your merch to Europe? Ask Karen.
Yes, some of it. So you just have to look at ccscatlmerch.com. It is marked if it goes to Europe. We do.
What do you think about Norm Macdonald? I think he's dead. I am in Boston. Good for you. Wise words. Oh. Exclam merch. Never resign. When's the next merch drop? What does that mean? Is he want a bowling shirt or something? Good for you, Jack. Boston has super confusing roads.
My son that's at MIT claims that he has less work than he had in high school. That's what he claims.
I'm on Malta. Man, you must be tired. What movie was very, 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 very partially filmed in Malta?
Hey, Bird LA. What was filmed in Malta?
Yeah.
Casablanca?
No, Popeye. Your favorite Altman movie. Let's see. Gilda Radner. I'm from St. Louis. Oh, I'm from St. Louis. My condolences. Yeah.
Yeah, my older son's at MIT. He's pretty smart. I can't take credit for it.
How do we generate revenue? People give us money. Why is that tofu so angry? They shot Gladiator to Malta? Possibly. Casablanca was filmed in Casablanca. I don't believe that. Let's see. I got rejected from MIT. Truth hurts.
Aw.
You literally had a Maltese roommate? When I lived in Brookline. Man, truth hurts.
Yeah, Holden got almost perfect scores. He got a perfect ACT and almost perfect SAT. They do like that over there.
Hey, it's Chris Bird. I talk about you often on the stream. Like even this one. Yeah. Hey, Chris.
Wait, where's Chris Bird?
Bird IA.
Oh, I didn't know that was
International
Chris
Arbiter.
Bird.
I didn't either, but he said he's in Boston and
Oh.
in St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to I need to get some food day going, Chris Bird.
Yeah, come on, Chris Bird.
I gotta, do it soon.
Do it.
Me and Dave Hader.
Don't mention Hater because then he'll leave. Yeah, terrible. Ben Simmons, he's a creep. Da, 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 da. What the hell am I doing here? Karen usually sings The Other Creep at karaoke. Stone Temple Pilots.
I have sung it a long time ago.
I've sang with you.
I do. Oh, that's right. Hey, I sing Karma Police, but I haven't sung The Other Creep. It's a little bit
Krista
out of
Berg.
my range.
The lady in red is dancing with me cheek to cheek.
Hey, I scared him off. I knew it.
I think Norm Macdonald slightly less now than he did when he was alive. Very slightly. Tom York released a new version of Creep. Good. Yeah. Chat is working, but feed is frozen. Incorrect. Nothing, just saying something's wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, truth hurts.
Oh, yeah, I like that song, High and Dry.
Don't leave me high. Don't
That's a
leave
good
me
song.
dry. That is a good song.
Well, I can get high like
Yeah.
that, but
Mhm.
you know, I'm not even trying to
What
pun
about
here.
drive? What about dry though? Yeah. All right, let's go back to the championship and look at another game. Well, let's look at Jeffrey's win against Sam again, or maybe not. Okay, let's get to the critical points in Fabi versus Danya, because the only person who matters in the whole world in this event is Danya. Okay,
Go, Danya.
so I'll get to the first critical position, which is this one. Now, before we get here, we'll get to a previous critical position. It's before the first one. Hard to understand. In this position, Danya could have simply played Rook C8 and taken this pawn at his leisure. And I asked him why he didn't, and he said, I pronounce it leisure. Okay? And then he said, this suit burns better. Burns his suit. Burns his suit. So that's, I didn't know what to say after that. Man, that was complicated jokes. Okay. I'll explain those jokes to you later for hours because it's complicated. Okay. You have to watch several television shows and understand all of them to get that one joke.
So why is he going Rook C8?
Okay. So
Why
in
is
the
that?
game, he played this, then knight e5 happened, and this pawn's weak. But with the knight on c4, you're not really worried about knight e5. So you play rook c8, defending the pawn, then you take this. Probably both players missed that. So now white's going to win a pawn. Except white didn't win a pawn because Fabi didn't take the pawn. What do I know? Okay, so this is all correct. And now Fabi, his play was shallow and pedantic at this point. What he should do is take this and take this, and white has winning chances. I'm not saying white would win, but white's much better. And, white's up a pawn and pass pawn and so forth. The engine says it could equalize, but some ways that look like they equalize don't. For example, takes, looks pretty equal. But after here with the double attack, if we play rook b8, now we're threatening this, then rook e8 check wins the b pawn. Takes, and queen takes b5, defending our b pawn. So this would be a really difficult position, I think, for Naroditsky to draw against Fabi. And instead, Fabi played very badly at this point and went on to lose, played knight c3. And now he's just a little bit worse because the c pawn's defended, this is isolated, this is great, why is this pawn on g4? And and then this endgame's just much better for black. The bishop is great on g7, and so forth. And unfortunately, this pawn's just going to get captured, and this pawn is not. And he played bishop f8 because, always play bishop f8. He wants to play bishop to g7, okay, which he did, and then he can saunter over here. And his pawn's defended forever, and this pawn's going to be captured. And that's what happened. And the pawn was captured. And there's a pass pawn in the 7th rank, so that's not good. And bishop here, trapping the knight forever. And, okay, black easily wins. And here Fabi resigned, because 2 pass pawns, 1 for each of you. He just gobbles this pawn up. And if the king stays here, my king goes here. And if the king goes over here, then this queen's and my king goes over here. And the bishop defends both of the pawns. So even though black's only a pawn up here, the engine evaluation is plus $1 billion for black. So terrible. See, it announces mate. Yeah, it's harsh. Yeah. So Fabi went from slightly better, maybe clearly better, to just much worse and lost. And for some, and then black played 98.6 because that's normal temperature, and Fabi was cold, 93.6, because he's so small. 93.6 isn't a good cap score when you're 2,700 in a slow game and you're white. That's like me playing a reasonable blitz game. So this was the start of his downfall, was knight c3. He should have taken on c6. I don't know why he didn't, but frankly, ridiculous. And so forth. Yeah, pawn is like prawn is correct. You do know something. Yeah. Etc. So going here and retreating and being worse instead of taking and taking a pawn. I don't know what he missed or didn't miss or both. I don't know like if he missed a tactic. But yeah, I mean this is just better for black. Isolated pawn, good bishop. Knight and queen have squares. Pawn's on g4 instead of g2. Yeah. And the thing is, when you play knight e5 and g4, you're going to win this pawn. That's why you play knight e5 and g4. Because you're like, yeah, I want a pawn. They went here. Yeah, so Fabi's not himself this tournament. We'll say he's Deepak. He's not himself. No. Is Danya super GM now? No. Absolutely not. And blah, blah, blah. Etc. Fabi mouse slip, that's very likely. Very likely. Yeah, even without a mouse. All right, let's go back to the women folk. If you can call them folk. Let's see, who was a hero? She would be a folk hero. Yeah, I just want to look at this one position because I'm mad. Okay, so in this position, which is about equal, Talia got crushed quickly. She played bishop f4, which is a nonsensical move. Like this pawn is attacked 1 billion times, and instead she plays here, like giving up her bishop. I don't get it. Okay, so takes. Now Talia's like, haha, I'm pinning you, and Nazi's like, be quiet. d5. Now, white's king is exposed, so knight f2 is the safest move, but she played knight c5, forcing the queen to be really active. Why is the knight here? Nobody knows. Now black's pieces have a certain harmony, right, as recommended by Elton John. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So bishop d4 check is the threat. So she played knight d3. I guess Talia likes moving her knight. I don't know. Okay, check. Rook e8. Now, this is where I got really mad. And I've never been mad before, right? Okay. Black is threatening rook e2, and Talia saw that, so she played rook e1. Right? Okay, and then double up on the bubble up, threatening rook e2 again, and Talia didn't see it. And the worst part is, not that she didn't see it, but we've had lessons more than once, obviously it was years ago, discussing collinear moves like this. And she's played moves like that before. We've talked about it. Okay, this move wins immediately. So white has to do something about it. So rook takes is the best move. And she played random legal move. And after here, she has to give up. Mm-hmm. I mean, what?
Sounds pretty bad.
I mean, you can't allow rook e2 after you stopped at the previous move. Okay, so take. Queen d1, pinning the rook. And now there's an excellent move that's forced mate. It's very nice. Obviously, with black's pieces like this, and white's king here, you're going to get mated. You want to play queen h2 mate, but you're worried about queen h3 that your rook is hanging. So she played queen h5, threatening mate, and now her rook isn't hanging. Now, what's funny about queen h5 is it threatens 2 mates. Not just the mates on h2. There's a mate here that's not taking on h2. What's that? Black to play mate, but not play this or this. And after the game, Nazi said, I got 2 mates, 1 for each of you.
Mate in how many moves?
2, but it's sort of like 1, but we'll say 2.
Okay, and I can't move the queen or the rook?
Who can't?
You said without moving the queen or the rook.
No, without doing this. Without h2. Not h2. That's obviously mate. There's another mate that's not this. Also, Nazi played it. It was a real Sophie's choice for white because her opponent was Nazi. Truth hurts.
Maybe,
Thanks, trades like Donald. I wonder if he moves like Jagger. Yeah, whenever I make jokes about Nazi's name, I only make 9 jokes, and that's it. The answer is, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Checkmate. So Talia saw this, and she's like, G4, bitch. Because, it's women. That's how they talk to each other. Now, the bishop defends the mate. You agree.
Mm-hmm.
The pawn attacks the queen, and the queen attacks the rook. So Talia thought she was the greatest player ever. And then after here, she went, oh. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, she
She's
didn't either.
way better than me.
She didn't see it either. She was like, queen d5.
I just don't see sideways moves
But the thing is, in this position, when black threatens this and you play here, then black threatens it again to not see it, the game's over. The king's getting crushed. Mm-hmm. Right? You could ask King Crusher. He'll tell you. Also, who's King Crusher?
I don't know.
Exactly.
And he hit somebody. A
He
hammer.
is?
No.
What? No, that's no.
That's
King Crusher's like 1,200 and Hammer's like 2,700.
I forgot their user
Yeah,
ID.
yeah. She did not see that coming. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't King Crusher better than a Gadmator at chess? Like if they played a match, isn't King Crusher better? I mean, I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I don't know.
What's his rating?
I think he's better than. Like a Gadmator's like 1,900. So, yeah, King Crusher's better. Yeah. No, he's 2,200. They're both about 2,000. All right. Something. I don't know these people, but you gawking rabble, that's all you know. Yeah. Gadmator has NM norm. Yeah. Lenderman Sevian. Wait, they're not as good as, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's 2,200.
King Crusher's a candidate master, while Gadmator's a Croatian master. Yeah, I guess that's the same.
Both
okay,
CMs.
Back to the championship. For some reason, they're asking for this game, which obviously is silly. So we'll get to the critical point. Because this game's 140
I'm going to go
because
is this going to... But bye, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
See you.
Yeah, Pad, see you. Okay, so to me, this is the critical position. And it's very hard to play black here because this was an excellent move. We're going to play bishop check and bishop d7. Then we're threatening the pawn, and we're threatening to escort this pawn in. And in this position, this is difficult to defend, and we have to keep these pieces here so we can stop this. And obviously, black is sort of tied down, and white's going to win this pawn anyway. Okay, so they went for this endgame, and I'm going to show you how it could have happened before, because somebody in the chat mentioned it when the game was live. Okay, now in this position, black is in Wang Chung. Black cannot move. Okay, this has to defend this has to defend this, and this has to defend c6. This has to defend c6. So black to move has no move. So Lenderman said, okay, now it's your move. So you're either going to allow this to queen, or you're going to lose this pawn. He decided to lose the pawn, because then it's opposite colored bishops. But with the pawns this far apart, it's an easy win. Now, earlier in the game, at some point, not sure when, I guess it was closer to when I was showing you. Here. Yeah, so right here. Yeah, this position occurred, and it seems as though white can win by taking this. Then you have to take, obviously, and then here. And if you move your bishop, I take this, and that's the same endgame. So it looks like he could have done this once or twice, this trick. And this is winning. But he didn't do it, and he, squeezed him and hugged him and squeezed him and so forth. And after he squeezed him so hard, and Sevian wasn't going to be alive anymore, they went up to Lenderman, and they said, look, it's the bunnies. Man, it's harsh. Yeah. So anyway, it ended up happening anyway. And if this pawn was here, 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 or here, it would be a draw. But here, here, and here, it's winning. Because you want the pawns far apart so the king and bishop can't coordinate a defense where they're stopping both pawns. If the king is here and chills, I'm going to do this and win your bishop. If the king is here, I'm going to go over here and win your bishop. And the pawns are protected by the bishop. And since the king is here and this king is here, white decided to queen this pawn because that's a lot easier. Yeah. And he did. And then, there's just nothing for black. Yeah, and then here and here. And the problem is you can't stop both pawns. So Sevian's defense the last 10 moves wasn't very good, but it didn't matter. He was going to lose anyway. And that game took over 6 hours, and it was 140 moves. Good. Subscribe to Tier 1. Yeah. Go Joe Biden. Also his mother, Joe Mama. Yeah. All right. Now, what confused me this game, if we can go back, is when the endgame began, which was 120 moves ago, okay, which was this position. Okay, I just thought this was an easy win. 2 bishops and an extra pawn. And this is move 29. And it took him 111 moves to win. And what I think he did wrong was he traded almost all the kingside pawns, which you don't want to do. And Lenderman intentionally did it. So then he got to some position like this, only 1 pawn each. That makes it much more difficult to win. So for example, if these pawns weren't here, if there was just the 1 pawn here, I could sacrifice my knight and draw the bishop versus 2 bishops. I mean, so 1 pawn was the minimum. The minimum that Lenderman needed on the king side to win, and it was 3 against 3. But then he traded all the pawns off, like sort of intentionally, like, oh, this makes it easier, but it didn't make it easier. Having said that, Lenderman's tied for first now, so what do I know? Good. All right, let's go look at Shanklin at the critical points in the game. Okay, it was actually, I'm going to look at the opening because it was so weird. They played a very strange opening. Both sides played strangely. Thank you, Dukem Nukem 1976. That's the spirit. Rook B8, stopping the fork. Maybe the forks be with you. Okay, so Shanklin has been playing a little better than his opponent. Knight D4 probably not right. And they got to this position, and the engine says white's position is good. And obviously Shanklin couldn't bring himself to play F3, so he played B4, harassing black, destroying his center. Rook D8, defending his pawn. So now if takes, then takes. And the engine really likes white if white plays A4, F3, or bishop G4. But instead, Shanklin blundered. Shanklin played H3. He overlooked the other point of Rook D8, which I don't blame him, which is to trade everything and then play knight takes E4. Shanklin obviously didn't see knight takes E4 when he played H3. And here, the game should still be a draw, but you might think Shanklin blundered a pawn and he didn't see knight E4, so he would be sort of shaken. But what you didn't know is Shanklin was blundering before you were born, so he literally didn't care. He's like, all right, I blundered a pawn. Okay, and he played the best move A4, destroying the queen side. Okay, and this game should be a draw, but Burke slowly got outplayed and ended up losing. And this is still a draw. This is still a draw. But, okay, black's not better because he can't hold on to his pawns. He castled, which is probably a minor mistake. Minor. B4, I think, draws very easily. This should draw too. Okay, takes, king F1. And white is the one playing for the win here because this pawn's blockaded by the knight. And it's more likely we're going to win this pawn than lose this pawn. Now, it still should be a draw, but it ends it up, he did lose this pawn and did not win this pawn, so Shanklin had winning chances. Bishop e7 is okay, and king f8 is a really big mistake. King f8 shows that you literally don't care about the next few moves, that it's just sort of boring. And actually, black has to do something quick to make sure he doesn't lose those pawns. So bishop here was really important to threaten this pawn immediately and tie down the rooks. And I'm not sure if Burke was trying to draw or win here. I don't know. And he just played here like I have all the time in the world. And the problem with this move, the king's actually worse on f8 than it is on g8, which is hard to believe. The reason is because of Shanklin's rook a7. And now, if you play bishop f6, I double on the 7th, and this pawn's hanging with check. Wouldn't be as bad if the king was on g8. It wouldn't be check, and I could play rook f8 defending it. So king f8 was a really bad move. And after rook a7, now white's just better. This pawn's defended, this pawn's not. If my king gets here and my rook's attack, I'm going to win. I'll just be up a passed pawn. So king f8 was a very poor move. Bishop f6, the reason he played bishop e7, that would have probably drawn the game. Because if white's using one of his rooks to defend this pawn, he's not going to double on the 7th rank. If he does double on the 7th rank, this move is in check. So black gets an extra tempo. So this is just a very, very, very bad move. And I ended up losing the game. Now with this one rook, the king just goes to d3. So this may already be winning technically, I'm not sure. It's definitely really good for white. White's going to win that c pawn. There's no doubt about it. And he defended his pawn with this, so he could play knight to d1, which he did. Yep. If you play c2, I take this. The rook is stopping the pawn. Otherwise, I just take this and I'm a pawn ahead. That's what happened. And he thought this rook ending had good drawing chances. Spencer thought it was a draw. I wasn't sure. But maybe it's just winning. And Shanklin actually did something really good here. Okay, in this position, Shanklin played king f4, and it's not clear what black should do now. White has two ways to win. One is to infiltrate, and the other is that when black stops him from infiltrating, which he did, we cut the king off on the e-file, and we queen our pawn because the king can't come over. But if the king was over here, then I could play king g5, king f6 and win. So it was a very difficult decision with very little time for Burke. And in this position, he played rook e4. This is a genius move. Defending the pawn, and now my king can come and I can try to push this pawn. And the reason Sam played f3, which you should never do, is he wants to play g4, g5, king g7, and then walk his king up. Very tough for black to stop. I think he should play king here right away. That way, if king e5, there's a lot of pawns to attack. Rook here, rook here. But he tried not to move his king away. He waited until it was forced away. And the passed pawn just wins for white. Yeah, now I have a passed pawn. Your king is never getting over. And there's no counterplay. Very nice play from Sam. And from having a worse position to a drawn position, he wins the game. Now he's going to queen. And here black resigned. Really nice technique, the last 15, 20 moves from Shanklin. And I didn't realize during the game that this was the culprit, king f8. It just gave white like an extra tempo or two. And by trading the rooks with rook a8 to prevent Sam from playing rook b7 and doubling rooks, this lets white's king go to d3. That's why bishop f6 is a million times better. Stops the king, puts pressure on the pawn. This square doesn't walk into a double 7th check. And this is probably just a draw. Yeah, I mean, white's still better because white has chances to win this, but I don't believe that, white can win this. Yeah, neither does the engine. So very poor move, king f8. Rook a8 I don't like either. And then, white's on the way to winning here. The king got to d3. The c pawn's going to fall, etc. It's like the Naroditsky game where he beat Fabi, except that pawn's a goner. In the game, the pawn was here, the knight was here in the Naroditsky game, and there was no D pawn for white, so there was just defended. Yeah. So one bad move from Burke, and the blunder of the pawn by Shanklin didn't cost him the game. Probably he was never losing either. Probably Shanklin was okay when he blundered a pawn. Delicious, etc. Yeah, King F8 isn't as bad as it is. No, it is. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very unusual game, seeing somebody make a mistake like that. Okay, let's go to Sevian, because there were several key points in the game with Fabi. Okay, in this position, everybody and their mother plays D5. That's the main move. And Fabi decided to play D6 and keep some winning chances for both sides, giving white a little advantage. And this was Fabi's prep. He was playing pretty quickly. And, this position I already didn't like for black. I don't like H6, G5. Yeah, Knight A4 is a really interesting move to try to get at the bishop and stop bishop takes C3. And here, the engine plays the very, paradoxical knight takes E4, which looks really dangerous, putting your knight here on this open line. And it says that's the best move. It still prefers white, but not as much as in the game. Fabi just played here, and white had the two bishops, but Fabi improved his pawn structure and his rook's activity. And I really didn't like black's position here, which I was saying during the live commentary, because I don't like this. I want the pawn here. And I like the two bishops. And I like that I have the F4 lever. 9-9 gifted lots of subs. Nobody knows how many. It was something like 1 million, I think. 10 subs. That's like 1 million on this stream. Yeah. Thanks for the 10 subs. Yeah, you're the best person who ever lived until somebody gives 11 subs. All right. Yay. All right. So Queen E2, reasonable. Bishop G4, trying to force F3. Never play F3. Knight H5, getting his two bishops back. And then F4, well, this king is exposed, so he's going to attack it. This bishop is just sitting here doing nothing, and this bishop is trying to checkmate you. Now, this is the funniest part of the game. There's a very famous saying in chess, long analysis, wrong analysis. And a lot of times, when somebody thinks 20, 30, 40 minutes, they make a bad move. The reason is, if you're thinking that long, there's something you don't understand. Important things. And Fabi just blundered here. Straight up blundered. His move is not one of the top 10 moves. He just blundered a pawn. Any move is better than the move Fabi played. But Fabi didn't like the fact that he might get checkmated, so he counterattacked in the center. He thought that was very reasonable. And unfortunately, it just hangs his pawn on C7. That's all it does. So FG, proving that D5 was NG. So if we take it, then it's just straight up winning a pawn, and white has the two bishops. And this pawn's attacked. I mean, it's just lost. If you play HG instead of that, now I still play bishop takes C7. And your queen is overworked, just like me today. Takes, queen takes, check, winning the bishop. So D5 is just, for a player of Fabi's caliber, an incredible blunder. So Fabi took the bishop. His bishop's attacks, he took the pawn. Now queen C7 doesn't work now because queen check wins the bishop, so he kicked the queen out of the way. Then when the queen moves, there's no queen E3 check, so then I can start taking all of your pawns. And that's what happened. So white's up a pawn, and white has a better position. D5 was just a blunder. And Fabi got a lot of counterplay, considering how bad his position was. And Sam played pretty well, but Fabi played great getting counterplay against the white king. Now, E5 is probably not the best move, but I thought Sam would play it because it's the trickiest. Bishop f1 is recommended by the engine as the simplest, but I think Sam felt it's time to win the game. I'm up a lot of pawns, let's just finish it. Bishop f1 is the safest move. The point of e5 is Sam was hoping after bishop g2 that you will know Sam's name is the Lord by playing rook f7. God damn. Then e5 would have been the best move because this is the greatest thing ever. If queen takes rook, queen check leads to mate. Bishop discovered checks, I take your queen. And if the queen moves off the h-pawn, then queen h6 mate. So here, black has to resign. Of course, after e5, Fabi sees that that's going to happen, so he doesn't do that. He plays rook e8, rook e1. White's still winning, but it would have been a lot easier with the bishop on f1 defending. Now, Fabi plays like the greatest genius who ever lived. And by saying that, I don't even mean his moves are the best. They're just genius. 999. All right, good job, Heinz Superman. Here, this pawn, now just sit down before I tell you this. Make sure you're sitting. Are you ready? You're sitting. This pawn goes here. Doesn't matter if it's good, that's genius. Okay, so Fabi's down 2 pawns, and these pawns are hanging. You still can't play bishop takes because of rook f7. You can't play rook f7 now because queen g2 mate. You can't play queen g2 mate if your bishop is there. So Fabi played f5. You can't take on passant because your rook is hanging. Okay, so bishop f1 is the best move, and Fabi played f4. And queen takes c5 is okay. The engine prefers e6. And then Fabi played f3. And then he played e6. The engine prefers taking this. And then Fabi played fg. Unbelievable how tricky 2800 players are when they're losing. Here, white only has one move that wins. Not hard to find, bishop d3. Bishop takes e6. And now, Sam made a bad move. He played queen e5. This is not a good move. He thought, I'm 700 pawns up. Let's trade queens and win. But he has to put his foot on Fabi's throat. Rook fe2. Pin that bishop. Attack that bishop. Okay, and then it's an easier win. Plus 4 point something. But he played here, and even after the queen trade, black still has an attack. Bishop h3. So now if a black rook gets over here, black's going to win. And in this position, white only has one move that wins. That's how much counterplay black has here. But he found it. Spencer was suggesting this move, and after here, black is winning. Black is winning now. Rook f1 is too strong. So that shows you how much counterplay Fabi got. Rook e4, the only winning move, stopping black from getting to the back rank. And here, Fabi should have chilled, right? Like little Fonzarelli's, but he's in time trouble, so he traded, which is helping white. He played d3, which is also helping white. This is a very poor move. The reason he played d3 is thus. White's going to take this pawn, and Fabi doesn't want to lose that pawn. Also, white's going to play bishop f5, and once the bishops are off, white wins. So Fabi distracted him and said, you can't take my pawn because I'm going to queen. For example, I don't have to take with the rook, but all right. And black queens. And d3 looks stupid because I take it. But now the pawn's not attacked by the bishop, so Fabi has time to try to get to the back rank. It doesn't work, but at least he tried. And then Savian's like, no, you're not going to the back rank. Okay. And then he says, man, I got 3 passed pawns. God damn. Now he likes his passed pawns. And after rook e3, playing on a little too long, rook f3 ends it. Yeah. And that's it. Now he resigned. You can't lose your bishop. You can't trade rooks. So you have to take, and okay. 3 passed pawns, what else? And this isn't dangerous anymore. So, very nice game by Savian. Good try when he was losing by Fabi, but he really, really bad move he didn't quite recover from. In this position, he played d5, and as a consequence, he lost all of his pawns. 25 moves later, he had no queenside pawns. Hard to believe he lost all of these pawns, and white kept all of these. Frankly, ridiculous. Thanks, Bach BWV. Good. Why not bishop g2 instead of fg2? Man, f5, f4, f3. Okay, you want to play bishop to g2. Good question. Then I play bishop g2. And then you're going to play fg2 anyway. I mean, Rick's defending my bishop. And then, you got nothing. e7 resigns. Yeah, if I didn't play bishop takes g2, then you'd be right. But, yeah. Otherwise, bishop takes g2 is better. Yeah. But I still find it amazing that in this position, this was Fabi's next 4 moves. That's 2800s are tough. If a guy's going to get his pawn here, and in this position, the rook e4 is the only move that wins. That's how much counterplay. And he found it in time trouble, Sevian. Very impressive. Yeah. Very impressive. What movie is that from? I gotta think of what movie this is from. Woman says very impressive and she's drinking something. Tombstone. Billy Zane is explaining to the female lead, I know her name, but I can't think of it, about Kurt Russell. And she's drinking something, and when he explains it, she says, very impressive. Yeah, what's her name? She has a name, I don't know. Something. Why doesn't rook e2 work? Boo! You mean in this position? Always play rook e2. Now it's a draw. Rook takes, if you take with a rook, I said if, then rook f8. Rawr! And then actually this is forced, it says. That's funny. Bishop e2 loses to d3. And rook e1's coming. If you take with a bishop, which is the other way to play, gotta play some other way, rook e8 still draws. You can't let me play rook e1 check. Now, this happened in the game, except black doesn't have this d-pawn in the game. This is actually the game position. And with the d-pawn, d3 threatens rook e1 check. In the game, with the bishop on e4, if you're threatening this pawn. So we don't have time to be moving our rook around. This pawn's hanging. That's why rook e4 is better than rook e2 or anything else. It's a genius move because after takes, your g-pawn's attacked. And actually, rook takes e4 isn't a good move for black. That was a bad move. He was in time trouble. Yeah, black should have just chilled here because white can't take this because of rook e1 check. But this actually helped Sevian because Sevian's attacking the pawn. So that, in time trouble. He's down 500 pawns. It's hard to just play a boring move here. White's probably going to win anyway, but rook takes e4 hastened his defeat. Dana Delaney, not Danya Delaney, but that's funny because of Danya. Right, Dana Delaney's right. Yeah, she said very impressive. And you could find that scene on Tombstone when Billy Zane is explaining to her, he's a lawman and so forth. And then she says, very impressive. And so forth. Maybe it wasn't Billy Zane. Billy Zane said something. She said, I want one. And he said, happy hunting. It might have been the sheriff. The evil sheriff, not the good sheriff. Yeah, I'm not sure who is talking to her now. Terrible. What does white do if black does nothing? That. 3 connected passed pawns. So black better do something. And quick. Yeah, white's going to win anyway. But, he's in time trouble, so he lost quicker. Billy Zane was in Titanic, and Billy Zane was in many other movies, and he was in Tombstone. And he got killed in Tombstone. Terrible. All he did was bring a little joy into their life, and they killed him for it. Terrible. David Blaine is a magician. Very good. He's the preptist. I think Fabian's just out of form. Truth hurts. Billy Zane is not my lover. Ooh, that's true. Yeah, they're both in time trouble. Kobe. Yeah. Billy Zane's in a movie, unless it's not Billy Zane, it's not a movie, where there's two people in the movie, him and a woman, and they're like on a raft because their boat sank or something. Or maybe I made that up, but something like that. Yeah, something. You know, I'm piecing it together from sugar packets, but I think that's what happened. Hikaru can make the candidates except for one thing. Yeah. Open water. What made him called the magician? He was the magician from Riga. It was a good nickname. All right, back to the women's. Yeah, okay, we're going to look at this game for one reason. Not the whole game, because the game was terrible. Black just played really badly this game. Okay, this is the only position in the game I care about, is this one. This is Ashritha, who's now tied for first, against Megan Lee, who's actually tied for last, but she actually has some points. It's a 4-way tie for last. Big money, no whammy, stop. $2. Yes. Thank you, sir. Good, good. Carissa Yip will become a GM, yes. That is correct. Yeah. Okay, so in this position, White's winning. White's threatening everything and attacking everything and two bishops and safe for... Okay. But Black made a move that loses immediately, but if White doesn't see the move... Oh, I'm sorry, it was later. No, it wasn't later, it was here. But if White doesn't see the move... Let me go here. Yeah. Okay. So this is funny. Black's move is good if White doesn't see the winning move. If White sees the winning move, then the move's really bad. And you could argue, and I would, that this is the best chance for Black. It loses the quickest, but it only loses to one move. If White doesn't play that move, then White's not better. Conversely, every other move just gets crushed. So this is fine. She played b6. And it looks like bishop takes d5 check wins sort of easily. But actually, after bishop takes d5 check, I can just move my king, and you got stuff attacked over here. And I'm guessing Black didn't see White's next move, because after White's next move, Black thought for several minutes and then resigned. And I showed this to Spencer and Karen. They didn't see White's next move either. So, Spencer okay, but Karen didn't see it. Jesus Christ. So, yeah. You saw nothing. All right. So, a lot of people on the live stream, they were suggesting moves that sacrificed White's queen because they're used to losing their queen, so they want to be in their comfort zone. Like, I lose my queen a lot, so let's make a move that loses the queen on purpose instead of my usual by accident. And actually, White does sacrifice the queen, but not really. Very temporary. Yeah. So the answer is knight takes c6, threatening, knight takes e7 check, winning the queen. So now Black loses all of her pieces. Now, if after knight c6, usually you don't allow a move like knight c6 because it's so winning. But I think b6 wasn't a bad idea, because if White doesn't play knight c6, White's not better. And the other move, White has a lot of ways to win. But I think she didn't see knight c6 either. So obviously when Ashritha played bishop d6, she saw that b6 lost to knight c6, and Black fell into it. Time trouble, obviously, but really nice move. And now Black loses all of her pieces, so she resigned. 10 centidues. Good, good. Yeah, the more you donate, the more money I have. Yeah. So that's a very nice, finish of the game. Knight takes c6. And then resigns. Good. Good. Okay, and the Carissa game had some interesting points too. This is the first one. Well, actually, in the opening, Black played very cheeky, and she was in a lot of trouble. And Black's in trouble here already. And she played Queen a5, which is a bad move. And after Bishop d2, Black is very close to losing. h6 isn't good either. And in this position, Anna missed the most incisive way of playing. She should play e5. The reason is Carissa stopped herself from playing knight h6 because Carissa's been afraid of bishop f7, knight here, knight, and rightfully so. h6 is a mistake, but it does stop all of White's tricks, which she has in this game. And after e5, the Black knight on g8 doesn't really have a good future, and we still have all these discovered knight moves to threaten the queen. Now, if I was Black, I would either take here or take here. If I was Black, the engine says here. So if that's the best move, this is no good. You can't go here, here. You can't do that. But let's play a move like I would play. I would play DE. Okay, then DE. And now Black has to take the pawn to justify, like, why'd you play E5? What's wrong with you? Takes, Queen E2. You can't take this because bishop takes wins. So I don't know, bishop G7. Then knight D5. God damn. This is the only move, of course. Bishop F4. All right, and then long castle, and, come on. Horrible. King F8's the best move. Jesus Christ. Castle. Okay, and it's just resignable. I mean, Black's position is absurd. Okay, not the best way for Black to play, but I was trying to punish E5. So E5 is a good move because we're opening up the Black king to White's aggressively placed pieces. Another line, for example, takes knight B5, attacking the queen and the D6 pawn. And if you, let's say, defend your pawn, I take on D6. I'm threatening knight C7. And if you take, egad, then queen E2 check. The engine plays king F8. Ugh. Knight E7 is what I would play. And then bishop F4. And then I'd probably resign if I was Black. I don't know. Horrible. Okay. So E5 was the right move. She played knight D5. White's still better, but not much. White's, a little bit better here. And in this position, she played bishop B4, which doesn't make any sense. That's a very bad move. It's bad for a couple reasons. The bishop is good here because D5 is always impossible because this is hanging. And I think nobody noticed D5, so that's, And after rook D8, my rook is better here, and my bishop is just going to get attacked there. And here White blundered with A4, and Carissa misanalyzed or didn't see D5 with the simple idea takes E4. And after D5, the engine really likes Black. This is another line, and just really good for Black. I don't know if she saw D5, calculated and said, I don't like that, or she just didn't look at it. I don't know. So she played B6, and then this position I like for Black also, and the engine said it was equal. And now Carissa showed her class. Okay, she redeveloped her bishop, or remaneuvered her bishop to G6. God damn. That was really nice what she did. Beautiful. Yeah, this is great. Because the bishop on A6 obviously does nothing because of the pawn structure White has. And now Black is completely winning on the king's side. Again, the engine likes White here, says it's fine. You couldn't pay me to take White here. Well, you could pay me, I'd probably do it. Okay, now Sharevich probably thought like I did. like in the long run, I'm going to lose, so let's do something active. And that hastened her defeat. The engine says, like, knight here, knight here, knight here, bishop a3, and white's fine. I don't believe it. And instead, she played g3 and f4, which is not good. There's good and there's not good. That's not good. And now black is strategically winning. This knight is shallow and pedantic. This bishop is good. Pass pawn is good, etc. So she blocked the pass pawn. And rook g1 is a big blunder, but queen e7 is a genius move. It's genius because white needs to double up on the bubble up, and Carissa's like, no, because she's going to move her e-pawn and win. This rook has to stay here. That's why queen e7 was such a good move. And then she just took over the diagonal. Queen h4 is good too. And this is, if this knight ever moves, I go here. And if this rook ever moves, I go here. So these pieces can't move. Black's going to take the g-file. Black's queen is infiltrating. White's f-pawn is weak. It's over. And in this position, Carissa missed an instant win, which is just gorgeous. And she clearly didn't see the move, because if she saw it, she would have played it. And that move is bishop, well, she played bishop f7. That move is bishop e2. The idea is not that you can't take it. You can't take it because rook g1 and queen g1's mate. You can't. The reason behind this move is e3 is unstoppable because we cut off the defensive e3. So black plays here and white resigns. And in this position, what's funny is white has no legal move that makes any sense. White's completely trapped. If the knight moves, well, I don't know where the knight's going to move. Knight here hangs mate. If the knight goes here, bishop f3 check. The rook can't move off of here. Queen can't move off the knight. Terrible. If you play queen h4 threatening mate, you get mated on g1 first. So the engine line is rook g3. That move I understand. Rook takes. You can't take with the queen because your knight's hanging. So you take with a pawn, and then e3. And I'm going to queen. Queen takes, or pawn. Oh, queen takes doesn't win because of here. Pawn takes wins because you don't have perpetual because I go here. It's actually funny. And then if you go here, I can check, and then queen. So e3, you can't play queen takes. Here, I don't know, something. Check. Queen d1 resigns. All right. So bishop e2 would have won immediately. And I think she would have played it if she saw it. But she just went here because she's winning anyway. Now the game goes on and on. You can't take with the queen because your knight's hanging. And black just totally infiltrates here and ridiculous. Yeah. Check. Yeah, and the white just can't move anything. Yeah, it takes everything. Okay, then white resigned because this is hanging. Down 7 pawns and so forth. Black could have won more easily, I guess, or more incisively, but she literally didn't care. She's like, well, I'm up 7 pawns, so who cares? So very nice win by Carissa. And I really like this bishop here, g5 bishop here. And then eventually her bishop got active. And g3, f4 hastened on his defeat. She probably didn't like her position. The engine said it was fine. Nah. But yeah, Carissa not on her game. I think if she was on her game, she would have played d5. And in the opening, she was in a lot of trouble. Lots of trouble. Lots of action. And so forth. Mainly and so forth. Those other games weren't interesting, I don't think, to show. And we probably showed enough games anyway. So let me tell you the standings of the event. In the women's, there's a 3-way tie for first at +2. Nemtsova, Esrita Eshwaran, and Carissa Yip. 4 out of 6. And Pakidze Crush have 3.5 out of 6. And then there's the rest. There's a 4-way tie with 2 out of 6. The Annas, Sharevitz and Zutonsky, Megan Lee, and Tatev. So the tournament's a lot different than it was 5-10 years ago. Carissa very young, Ashrita very young, etc.
Even Talia, who's pretty young, has 3 out of 6. And the newcomer, Tucker Genova, also 3 out of 6. In the championship, it's also not like it usually is. Instead of Fabi, Wesley, and Dominguez fighting for first, Lenderman and Robson are tied for first with +2, followed by the following 3 players at +1, Sevian, who beat Fabi today, Wesley, and Dominguez. Wesley and Dominguez both have 1 win and 5 draws. And the only person who's drawn every game in either section is Bruzon. He has 6 draws, and funnily, he's the only player in the tournament with 3 out of 6. He's the only 50%er. And even though Jeffrey won yesterday against Shankland, Jeffrey's still in last, all by himself with 2 out of 6, with 5 players with 2.5. So Jeffrey could be in the middle if he wins tomorrow with 3 out of 7. Burke, Shankland, Fabi, Schwiertz, and Naroditsky tied for 7th. So before the tournament, if I told you Fabi would be tied 7th for 11th, half a place above 12th, would you have said, yeah, that's reasonable? The answer is fries. As a consequence, Fabi's gone from number 2 in the world to number 3 in the world behind Ding Liren, just barely above Aronian and somebody else. And Magnus is the only 2,800 player in the world. So remember, if you want to maintain your 2,800 rating, don't play. That's what Kasparov did. Bam! Kasparov's still 2,800. Well, inactive. So very, very exciting tournament. If you ask me, too exciting. Lots of decisive games all over the place. Lots of mistakes. Lots of time trouble. And lots of results we didn't expect. Okay, Fabi losing 2 games. Shanklin lost 2 games. Naroditsky had 3 losses and 2 wins after round 5. No draws at all. And Robson and Lenderman are playing the best chess, and they're tied for first. Lenderman, I thought, was the front runner for last, but shows you what I know. So anybody can still come in the top 3 or 4 if they go on a run. And the people who are doing well now, if they have a losing streak, they can come in the middle. So the tournament's not over. That was round 6. There's 5 more rounds. If there's a tie after round 11, when the tournament ends, there'll be a playoff the next day. So tune in. Tomorrow I'll be doing live commentary. We'll start about 1:45 p.m. I don't think Spencer's coming because he has lessons on Wednesday. So it'll probably just be me and Karen. But Karen's busy, so I don't know. She's busy. What are you going to do? You'll see me every day. And I think on Friday, which is now Saturday, because the mayor said Saturday will now be called Friday. If you watch Futurama. I believe Friday is a rest day for the last rest day for the players. Unless I'm wrong, then it's another day. I'm pretty sure it's Friday. So I'll see you guys tomorrow and Thursday. Live commentary. The round starts 2 p.m. Eastern and specific time. Very specific. If you want to know about U.S. champs I played or anything else about me, go to my Wikipedia. It tells you all the U.S. Opens I won, National Open, Chicago Open, World Open, and the 9 U.S. championships I played. The last one was either 2013 or 14. I don't know. But I've played in 9. And I could play in 10 if I win the U.S. Open, which I never will, or if they let the senior champion play the U.S. championship, which they won't, and I won't win it anyway. So yeah, that was my last U.S. championship. I could get a wild card if, Rex decides like, hey, Ben Feingold, that's a good wild card, and doesn't listen to anybody telling him like that's crazy. That's not going to happen either. So that was my last U.S. championship, the last one I played in. I played in 9, but I can't get into the Hall of Fame, the U.S. Chess Hall of Fame, because they only let in stronger players like Rex and Jeannie. So I can't get in. Yeah. Best result, I don't know, +3, +2. Yeah. 10 centidues, hooray. Yeah. And so forth. All right, who gets my thousands of viewers? Man, none of them deserve it. Boo, boo. Offline, terrible. Yeah. I think I'm going to raid my good friend. Although I forgot what his name was. But he's my good friend. Oh, wait, I'm not looking at the stream. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for donating and so forth, mainly and so forth. The more you donate, the more commentary I can do, the more videos I can make. Make sure you watch our YouTube pages. There's my page. There's the Chess Center page. We also have Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And Karen also streams. She might stream on Thursday or Friday this week when I'm not streaming. So lots of stuff going on at the Chess Club. We have 700 lights on in here, and Karen just bought 2 more. So I guess you're going to see more and so forth. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.